Morning, folks. Welcome to TNT on a Saturday morning here from Turtle Beach. Really appreciate you dropping in. Great to have you with us, and always appreciate your time. And we pushed through 29,000 subscribers this week after a good November. Very poor October, but here we are, and it's great to have you with us. I think we'll get to 30,000 by the end of the year. Maybe. That'd be fantastic. Sort of depends on the news. It's not so much what I do, although I've obviously got to turn up every day and do as good a program as I can, but sort of depends on the news. And the news has been hot over the past week. We'll get into some of those stories in just a moment, including what I think is a very disturbing story, and this is the action taken on a Chinese influencer, vlogger, a TikToker, who posted a critical video in Soi Nana, in Nana Plaza, and she's been taken to the cleaners. We'll go through that story. I think it actually throws quite a bad precedent. I'm trying to think of a better word. A worrying precedent for YouTubers and other vloggers. Certainly, I think the Thai police are just not going to tolerate anybody being negative about Thailand. So we've had these two incidents this week from Deutsche Welle, an old video which was entitled Sex Tourism in Thailand, which suddenly came to the fore this week and has garnered a lot of comment and criticism. A lot of people, shooting the messenger rather than actually considering the issue at hand. And then this case, which came to our attention yesterday about the Chinese vlogger. So we'll get to those in just a moment. Let's say hello to everybody. We've got Melbourne, Australia, John D. We've got Peter James, who's in the UK very early in the morning. Must be about 2 a.m. there, Peter. We've got Hans Schellenberg, of course, out of California. And Dam1, thank you for joining us all the way from Jomtien. And I've got a cat somewhere around. I can see the light jiggling, so I think they're trying to pull the lights down. Anything could happen. We've got Okinawa, Naya 28. John's Journey all the way from Amsterdam. So Santiago, Joe Shmoo. That's a rather odd name. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Jonathan Lalas, hello from the Philippines. Vancouver, where else we got? Will the Thai police go after Ben Hart from Integrity Legal for some of his videos during the past week? Yeah, Ben's been waxing lyrical, hasn't he? Yeah. Well, I think most of his commentary is usually complimentary to Thai police generally. He's certainly a big fan of Surachat Hakpan, the Deputy Commissioner. So I'm not sure whether... Well, I'll have to have a look at some of his latest vlogs to see if he's perhaps crossed the line, but that's not for me to decide. That's up to the Thai police. Also remember that Ben is a Thai citizen. So anyway, this is a vexed question, and I think there's a lot to consider in this. And a question, have the cats fully adjusted to their new home on the beach? Absolutely, Hans. And don't know where they are at the moment, but they'll be causing mayhem somewhere. Absolutely fully, homified, and loving living here on the beach. I mean, not that they really get to the beach. They never really just go past the front porch, look at all the traffic going past the road and go, not going any further. So they haven't even seen the beach. I will at some stage be moving them again in around about a month's time to my final destination, hopefully here on Turtle Beach, as we then will rent out this particular property, and ordered a lot of furniture and knickknacks and stuff to decorate this over the next month. And this will be called Coral Cottage, and it will also be available on Airbnb. In fact, there's a link in the description if you want to make a booking. So Bill Ellis asked the question, does Surachat have a nickname? I wonder, Surachat Hakpan, does he have a nickname? I don't know if it's ever been spoken about in Thai media, so no, I don't think he does. So this is Turtle Beach this morning. If you want to know where I live and what it's like, here, I'll press the button. Here we go. So go back one. So we can see the fishermen arriving from their night's catch and all returning to Turtle Beach, and some people just looking out across a very, very flat Andaman Sea this morning. We go to our next video, and they're setting up for a big festival. I think it starts tomorrow, and this is a stand that's selling all this amazing timber and wooden furniture. Can I just go back to let's reset it. Look at those tables. I mean, can I pause that? There we go. Look, you could make 20 tables out of that table. How the hell did they actually get that there? That must weigh, literally a ton. So, some very, ornate. This is sort of what you'd call traditional sort of Thai furniture. And all of it fairly heavy and chunky, and a lot of it made out of sort of faux teak. There's a few close-ups. So, yeah, fairly ornate. Not my sort of scene, and highly varnished. So it does need a bit of attention as that varnish weathers. But yeah, big chunky bits of timber if you want some timber furniture. And they're getting ready for this festival. These are some of the signs, the big neon signs that they've been putting up. And they've closed off part of the road with this huge marquee. It's around about probably 200 metres long. And this is one of the local urchins who likes to follow me around. I think he's a very naughty kid. I like him. And you can see all this infrastructure going in. There's going to be 3 or 4 stages. Of course, there'll be lots of people here selling knickknacks and trinkets and stuff. And I'm sure there'll be lots of Thai food as well. And this is at the main plaza. A plaza, a quadrangle, sort of a town square. And this is the local toitle, which I suppose is probably the only landmarker at the Thai Muang Beach, which we've also renamed, as you know, Turtle Beach, thanks to Steve Rosse and, well, apparently some other people in the past as well. But looking out to these tents that are being erected, and obviously they're going to have a lot of food and people selling stuff. Then as we walk out towards the sign, which announces Thai Muang Beach, we can see that looking out across the Andaman Sea, a very, very quiet day indeed. And I can guarantee I'll be in that water sometime later today. So the beach looking nice and quiet this morning. Went down there for a quick walk. Bit of a constitutional, but as you can see, all the way down the beach, looking very pleasant today. That's just another shot there of this huge marquee that's been built right across the road. So you'll have to take a bit of a detour if you want to get down to the other end of the beach, because this part of the road is going to be blocked off, I think, for some 10 days. So, they've been putting a lot of money and effort into getting that infrastructure ready, and that's me just walking back home. And you can see the preparation for the stalls, and otherwise a fairly quiet morning at Thai Muang Beach. I hope that didn't bore you sideways, but will be, I don't know, a bit noisy over the next 10 days. We'll certainly be interested to see how many people come here. I didn't even know this festival was going on. So it's all a bit of a surprise to me and to the local people who are going, what the hell's going on here? So interesting. Gugs 2009, look out over the sea for long enough and one can see the east coast of India. Helps if you have a drink or 4. Yeah, you might have to look really, really hard. That's about 4,000 kilometres. So you might be able to see 20 or 30 kilometres out to sea, but I think you might be at a stretch with 3,000 or 4,000 kilometres. And a few other things. Hi Tim, did yourself or Steve go to interview royalty on their recent visit to Phuket? Good question. I actually offered to pick His Majesty up at the airport in my 1983 pale blue Mercedes-Benz. They declined the offer, surprisingly, and they took a helicopter instead. So there you go. No, we haven't engaged royalty, and no, it's not really my thing, but happy to report the movements from time to time. There's obviously a little bit of flux in that particular story, which we've covered in a very broad sense over the past couple of weeks, but I think everybody can put 2 and 2 together and get 4, rather than often putting 2 and 2 together and getting 17. So, okay, get on with the topics listed. Thank you, Booger, I will. Ooh, nasty. So here's one of the topics listed. Khao English says Thai authorities caution foreign content creators against generating untrue content that impacts Thai tourism. Okay, untrue content. What is untrue content? Was the fact that the lady said that 99% of ladies would be unsafe walking down Nana Plaza, is that untrue? Perhaps an exaggeration, perhaps a little bit melodramatic, but whether it's untrue, I'm not particularly sure. What is untrue? Obviously, that's going to be decided by the Thai police. BangkokPost.com says Chinese woman questioned over dangerous soy nana video. Well, the video itself wasn't dangerous. It was her content that was warning women about the dangers of walking down a street like soy nana. And a Chinese woman who posted a video clip on TikTok while walking in Soy Nana off Sukhumvit Road, expressing concerns about the safety of nighttime strolls in Bangkok, has been questioned by immigration police regarding her motives. And it was posted on December the 5th and perceived by many as detrimental to Thailand's tourism image. It's taken a few slugs the last week. In response, the Immigration Bureau Commissioner, why is the Immigration Bureau Commissioner involved? Ordered an investigation which identified the woman in the video as Ziyu Wang, a 28-year-old Chinese national who entered the country on a Thai privilege card. So she spent big money to come to probably live in Thailand, and even with a Thai privilege card, or what they call the elite visa, I think I'm talking about the same thing here, Thai privilege card. I'm pretty sure that's what we otherwise call the Thailand elite visa. There are certain conditions and qualifications. During questioning, Ms. Wang admitted to creating and sharing the video on social media, but denied having an intention to damage Thailand's reputation. The woman said she only wanted to warn foreigners about areas where walking alone at night might be unsafe for women. So perhaps she could see it as a public service, but that's not the way that the police are seeing the same issue. So I think this causes a lot of very vexed questions and fires a shot across the bows to vloggers, YouTubers, TikTokers, Instagrammers who think they're going to diss Thailand. Now, we've had many cases over the past couple of years, well, many, but a few, of people who post a negative critique, for example, on TripAdvisor or one of those sites, saying they didn't like a particular hotel because of A, B and C. And then the hotel owners sue them and take them to court. And those people are not allowed to leave Thailand until their court case is heard, causing all sorts of drama. So there's issues of truth and reality. There's issues of free speech. I think the main issue here is a lot of Thai officials having a very thin skin. There are also, apart from these sort of vloggers that provide more of a reality check or perhaps more critical videos, there are the ones that say wonderful things about Thailand and show drone shots across Maya Bay and wildebeests crossing the fjords. You know, going crazy there. But I mean, there's plenty of very, very, very good and non-critical content put on social media. They're happy for that, but if you start criticising Thailand, they don't particularly like that. So, is it safe for a woman to walk down the street in Thailand? Pretty much, I'd say I'd be surprised if they were in much danger compared to a lot of other cities in the world. Now, I would have, personally, no hesitation walking down any street in Thailand, any night, any time of the day. I won't, because I'm usually in bed by about 10 o'clock. But there were streets in Melbourne, for example, that I wouldn't go walking down late at night. For example, King Street. I wouldn't go walking down there on a Friday or Saturday night if you paid me. And I'm sure there's streets around the world that people would rather avoid. So, was this woman doing a public service, or has she really rubbed some of the Thai officials up the wrong way? Well, here's the key. According to the investigation, the woman had engaged in live streaming to sell goods online during her time in Thailand, a violation of foreign employment regulations. So on an elite visa, she's not allowed to work. So it's sort of the Al Capone example. Al Capone, I might have got this story wrong, but rather than being caught over all his criminal activities and murders and what else he'd done, they caught him eventually on tax evasion. So this is a bit like that, where they haven't actually sentenced her regarding her vlogging and YouTubing. They've caught her on not having a work permit, only in Thailand. Immigration police charged her with working illegally in the country without a permit. And the immigration police said this case serves as a reminder to foreigners not to produce content that could harm Thailand's image and the tourist atmosphere. Violators are subject to legal action and may be blacklisted as a consequence. So if you think they're going to be pretty thin on the ground when it comes to actual legal action, and in other words, can they sue you for libel if you post a video warning women not to walk down Soy Nana? I think that case would be very, very thin on the ground. However, they could just decide to blacklist you, or not so much blacklist you, but when you apply for a visa in the future or just arrive in the country, they could say, we're not going to let you back in, which is punishment enough, of course. So I'm going to go to your comments on this particular topic. Have I finished on that one? Yes, I have. So let's see what you're saying about this. And I'd be very interested to know whether it's not so much siding with the Chinese woman. It's got nothing to do with the fact she's Chinese, by the way. Just imagine this was an American vlogger, or an Australian vlogger, or me being, well, given a rap over the knuckles, or in her case, charged with not having a work permit because she maybe just pushed the envelope a bit too far. So let's go to your comments and any news on the Hill Princess. You know what happened. Boogie, you can't rush perfection. Oh, thank you very much, Thumper Squid. Question, maybe could do next Saturday's live from the festival. Rachel, we will get to these other comments. I'm just going through these as we go. The problem I'm going to have out there is relying on I can only get 4G. I can't get 5G. I'm looking at trying to find a different mobile partner that perhaps gives me 5G here along the beach strip, but I don't think any of them do. And I'm not sure if the 4G is going to be fast enough. I'll have to do a bit of a test, but that would be fun, wouldn't it? We'll see how we go. Tomo USB telepathic. I was just thinking the same thing. Is the lady that collapsed previously? So I guess you can't say there's a shitload of hookers in Pattaya. Well, there you go. Apparently, there's no prostitution in Pattaya. You need to tell that to the 30,000 sex workers in Pattaya. They might have a different story. Well, they're not going to say it out loud, are they? But yeah, are you saying that there's a shitload of hookers in Pattaya? Is that defamatory to Thailand's image? So if you give a restaurant a bad review, you'll get arrested. Again, if you do give a restaurant a bad review, and there's been cases of this, the restaurateurs have taken the vlogger, the poster, to court, and some of them have won. So it's a vexed situation in Thailand, and I think it will give people pause will sort of do anything when they come here. If they see people blacklisted for making a warning video, I'm just to plant my case, I'm on the woman's side on this. I am a vlogger as well. Not as famous as her, not by a long shot. But I think we need to have a certain amount of rope. And the amount of rope that I thought I've had in the past has been severely shortened by this particular case. Will I mind my P's and Q's in the future? I'll certainly have this case in the back of my mind before I start making more open critiques. It's a very interesting situation. Han says, Nana is only dangerous to your bank account. Wu-Tang Life says, censorship. Yeah, I mean, this is censorship of a sort. And good censorship, bad censorship. Censorship is censorship. And there's certainly the issue of freedom of the media here in Thailand, which I've usually argued is fairly broad. This is certainly a curtailment of some of that freedom of speech. Nana is only dangerous from walking on the street and not watching out for traffic, says Reg Dunlop. FJ says 11:30 p.m. Soy 4. Are we talking Pattaya? I suppose we are. Dressed in short dress and knee-high stockings, alone and looking at her phone. Oh, we're talking about Soy Nana. Just like the other 100 of freelancers that lie in the street, she was surprised. Okay, yes, apparently she did engage with somebody and nothing happened to her, but she for whatever reason, felt in some sort of danger. Seb Dangerfield says, very bad and naive move by the cops. All it will do is escalate and extend any harm which would otherwise have been forgotten about by now. Absolutely. All this spotlight that the Thai media is putting on these two cases, the one about the Chinese vlogger and the other one about the Deutsche Welle documentary, has just brought a lot more attention to those issues. The issue of safety in walking down these party streets, the issue of underage sex here in Thailand, and I'll have more to say about that a bit later. So I think, the more they get in a tiz about it, the more media attention there is, the more social media starts to take one side or the other, and the more attention generally Thailand gets to some of the perhaps more negative things that happen in the country. I've decided to live here. I love Thailand for 1,000 reasons. The 3 or 4 things that I don't like, I just have to block out of my mind, understand they happen, and just get on with my life. That's the situation anywhere in the world. There's no more negative things happening in Thailand than in other countries. In fact, I'd say a lot less. I love living in Thailand. I have generally a very positive attitude towards the country, but I'm not blinded by the bad things that happen from time to time, and some of those might be cultural, and some of them may be brought in to the country by mass tourism. But I just forget about those things because I can't control them, and I'm not going to get worried by things I can't control. Seb Dangerfield, very bad, naive. She probably charges. Oh, Robbie, I think you're being a little bit nasty there. Grunt Max, Phuket Marine Department, Thai captain only ruling. Just watch out for these channel markers when you're nodding off after a week on the meth. Grunt Max, you're throwing a curved ball in there. Obviously talking about a story I'm not aware of, but yes, there has been from time to time some problems with motorboats, but again, they are rare. Given the number of boats that head out from Phuket and other ports in Thailand, you're going to get a few difficult ones from time to time. I've never felt that unsafe in Nana, says Dam1, though I'm often in the hands of someone else. There you go. Misdemeanor from New York City says, sounds like you need some Chinese police patrol, huh? And, it's just all gone. Where are we? There was one from Rachel. I'll try and go back a bit. Sorry, everybody. This is very touchy. I just start moving it and it flicks all the way down. I'm looking at getting a new Mac. This one is 5 years old, but it seems to not like the modern Wi-Fi and modern cloud media for whatever reason. Rachel, okay, I found you. Comment, I never had any problems by walking alone in Bangkok, especially in and around the Asok or Silom area. Rachel, I think you're with most women in not feeling under any particular danger. But if you made a video warning people of some of the dangers, would that be a criminal act? John S. in Melbourne, Thailand's culture is about being polite. Being negative or critical goes against the way they do things. Yeah, sure, it's bad vibes, bad karma, a loss of face, and they don't like losing face. But I think at some stage they need to face up to the realities of modern social media and modern vloggers. Now, if you're visiting Thailand as a tourist, sorry, got a very squeaky stool. If you are visiting Thailand as a tourist and you decide you're going to, talk about this or that, and maybe make a video talking about the best pad Thai in Bangkok, are you working in Thailand? Will you be blacklisted because you were a tourist and you didn't have a work permit? I think this has just got a lot of questions, hands on my hips, a lot of questions to be asked. John Freeney said, if we had an unfavourable opinion about anything or anyone, never ever express your opinions in public or public media in Thailand. It could cost you. Yeah, John, I think that's the warning we're getting loud and clear from the police. But at the same time, I'm not sure if that's the correct attitude to have. I'd like to be able to turn my camera on and talk about, all sorts of things. Most of them will be complimentary. Some of them I'll have a bit of a dig from time to time, usually more of a sarcastic comment than a direct attack. But I don't really want to have this floating around in the back of my mind before I turn the camera on. No one is allowed to have an opinion, says Arthur Lee. I think this is the modern life. People get outraged if you have an opinion. Goodness gracious. My comment section this week has been full of some outrageous commentary of people being outraged over the Deutsche Welle documentary. How dare they make a documentary about sex tourism in Thailand? Don't they know about the sex tourism and prostitutes in Germany? That's not the point. That is such a deflection tactic. It's not a good argument, and it doesn't change the problem that they exposed here in Thailand. Anyway, more about that later. Guzzy Jack says, hi, howdy. Sorry, I'm late. Magnificent 7 on TV, and I lost the time. Oh, that's a good film. And a lot different when it's a kingdom, says Jake Johnson. Not really sure about that. I think it's more this loss of face that is behind this. And it's just part of the Thai and perhaps even the Buddhist culture, a very Asian thing, this loss of face. They don't like it. And it's something you just need to be aware of. A very different culture than I grew up with in Australia, where you take criticism on the chin and you try and do something to improve yourself. You listen to what people say, good and bad, and then you get on with life. But no, here in Thailand, they will harbour real grudges if you are critical about them, certainly in a very direct way, and much worse if it's in front of their family or friends. Seb so won't get arrested for saying it. And Alan says, I'm pretty vulnerable and had no problems walking around Soi Nana, I can't even walk. Okay. Any criticism of Thailand, keep to yourself, basically, says Jake. And why do you need 5G? 4G is enough for everything, says Deadeye. Well, yeah, I sort of get that, but I'm on 5... No, I'm not on 5G. I'm on just fast internet. Very fast internet, actually. But, I'll go out and I'll do a test with the 4G, and we'll see how we go. That's about the best I can do. A nomad overseas says, vlogging and work permits seem a bit of a grey area. No shit, Sherlock. Get the impression that cops, if they choose to, can say vloggers are working in Thailand and nab you. yeah, I think they've sort of just got this one up their sleeve. And if they don't like what you're doing at the time, or if they get a complaint, they'll take some action about it. Otherwise, you could be making a video about anything and they'll leave you alone. Yeah. David Walden says the most blatant illegal action is that many Farangs bribe immigration officer or visa agencies to get their retirement visas. You think that's the most illegal action? Many Farangs bribe immigration officers. Don't think that happens much anymore, to be honest, David. And as far as bribing visa agencies, well, the visa agencies, you're paying them for them to assist with your getting a retirement visa or other visas for that matter. I pay my visa agent to go and do my 90-day report because it's just convenient for me, costing me more in time to do it by myself. So visa agents provide a service. You're not paying them a bribe as such. Robbie says the 4G will drop right off in speed when all the other festival goers arrive. They all share the same pipe. Well, there you go. That's something to consider. Question, does Starlink work in Thailand? Probably. I think it's very expensive though. Otherwise, mobile phone, Wi-Fi, 5G is very, very, very cheap, very fast and very reliable here. So I don't really think I need Starlink, and I understand it's quite expensive. Robbie, I heard the internet uses tubes, not pipes. There'd be blue PVC tubes. Look at the other things you're not allowed to talk about or criticise in the country. Like what? Give us some examples. A Nomad Overseas says 4G should be fine for live stream if in 720p. Well, look, I mean, it all depends on the 4G speed and where you're standing and... I think there's so many things that are related to getting a viable signal up the so-called pipe and onto live stream. But look, I'll give it a test and see how we go. And a big thanks to John S. in Melbourne, who's given us a big support of the program in Aussie dollars. Thank you very much. And John S. in Melbourne, my old hometown, has got a question. What happens in the high season at Tham Luang? Is there a spillover of tourists from Phuket? I don't know yet. This will be the first high season I'm spending here. I think there are additional people, but it's a pretty sleepy part of the Thailand coast. And I don't think there's going to be a huge influx, but I think during the week we'll get some more people dropping in. And certainly on the weekends, we get more people coming to Tham Luang Beach anyway. But 99% of the people that go through Tham Luang are on their Turtle Beach, the town, which is about a kilometre from the beach. They're just making the right-hand turn and going through to Khao Lak. So not many people stop here at Tham Luang and come down to the beach, which, as I said, is about a kilometre from that intersection. Oh, things have just vanished again. Here we go. And so Darren Stone says, most of what you say is criticising Thailand. Do you think so? Maybe what I've spoken about this morning is criticising Thailand. I think I'm just making or sharing an opinion about what the Thai police have done this. And reporting the news generally tends to be negative. But if they're going to haul me over the coals for reading out stories published online, well, I think it's time for me to leave the country. Kelly Parkinson says, no one's talking about the Deutsche Welle doco in Pattaya. On the local Discord, comments about it are deleted. Interesting. Regular YouTube channels don't mention it at all. I've mentioned it ad nauseum this week, Kelly. It raised some very serious issues worth discussing. It did. And people seem very reticent to actually talk about those problems. Now, over the years, and I have to be careful what I say here, I've spoken to any number of police. I've spoken to some NGOs. I've spoken to some Thai volunteer groups that help people who work in the sex industry their sex workers and are having a hard time while doing so, either economically or mentally or whatever. And I've only done this in one particular part of Thailand, and some of the stories I heard were horrific. Now, the issue of underage sex workers is real. And for those people that say, oh, give us some proof. Well, we do report maybe a couple of times a month of different bars, people being arrested because they've found underage sex workers on the premises. Not just people working in the bars, but underage sex workers. So the media does report these from time to time, but let me assure you there's a lot more happening in the black, dark underbelly of the sex work industry in Thailand that never makes the light of day. So, Kelly, it's an interesting proposition that so many people have been speaking about and blaming Deutsche Welle for making that documentary and not really addressing the critical issue of young people that are being driven to or encouraged or trafficked into this sort of work. I love the shows you do, and also when you have Steve on, great information. Yes, Steve will be with me tomorrow with Grumpy Old Men. We haven't recorded it yet. I'm recording it, I think, around about lunchtime with Steve. I don't know where we're going. Usually we just make it up on the spot, as we do the entire program. Thank you very much, Jason L. Lindsay, I stopped posting reviews in Agoda because anything negative doesn't get posted. Interesting point. Time for an M3 Mac. Actually, I was looking at a M2 Mac. The Mac I've got is a very powerful MacBook Pro, and I simply don't need the processing power because so much of what I use these days is in the cloud. So I just need a good Wi-Fi connection and a clear screen and a good keyboard. So I'm looking at one of the MacBook Airs, I think that's what they're called. Really nice looking machines. Half the weight of this, and they don't get hot. This gets very hot when I'm using it. Tim, only get Mac that has Apple Silicon, nothing else, not Intel. Yeah, this has got an Intel chip, so I am looking at, in the case of the one I'm looking at, the model is an M2 chip. Can't afford the M3 chip, Hans, unless you'd like to help. Deadeye, Tim, I don't know. Peter Finds Your Family says, strange handles people have. If they don't like what you do or say, can they always punish you with something such as taxation, work permit, making something out of the work permit's permissions, or something else? Yeah, that's, I suppose, always a worry. Now, there was an Australian journalist working here, I'm going back some 9 or 10 years, and they defamed the Royal Thai Navy. And they were taken to court. They won the court case, but in the end they were denied getting a visa to come back into Thailand. So the officials got them in the end in probably the worst way possible. So that is always a fear. Yeah, good point. Reg Dunlop says, Soy Nana is not dangerous. It should be called Soy Love, as there's so much love of women. G'day from Orlando, says Damien Kessels. Orlando, Florida. I've been there. Now, it wasn't the opening, but it was pretty close to the opening of Disney World. This is back in the mid-80s I was there. I even did a live phone call back to a Sydney radio show from Disney World. I remember I was on like a phone. I had to put in quarters all the time to keep the call going, but I was live on a Sydney radio station, so there you go. That's my trip in Orlando. Is this Thailand turning woke? Says Poke4R. Checking if it spells anything. This word woke, I have no idea what it means. I suggest you probably don't either. It's just a sort of a derogatory term you like to throw in when you don't like what people say. I don't know. I don't think this has got anything to do with Thailand going woke. I don't think the Thai officials would even be aware of the word or what it means. Jason L. Tim, I've lived most of my life in Chicago, and Thailand is great. Sure, a few issues, but all extremely small in comparison. Agree with you, Jason. 99% of everything in Thailand I love. I choose to live here. I don't have to, but I choose to live here, and for good reason. The Wu-Tang Life says, everyone, this is not about safety and nana or the truth. It's about censorship and the freedom to express yourself. That's sort of the way I see it. I mean, I'm not getting all lemon-lipped about it, and I'm not going to be demanding changes. I'm just trying to make people aware that I think this is an unfortunate precedent, and it just makes a lot of people will make them think twice before making their vlogs and uploading them. You are not blurry, Tim. Who says I'm blurry? Okay, thank you very much. It's quite a ridiculous thing to hear that some people are so sensitive to criticism while many of those are involved with bribes and illegal practices, says Supachara Shabra. G'day, Tim from Char Arm, fellow Aussie from East Gippsland. This is from Gungadin. East Gippsland, I spent quite a few holidays down in a place called Paynesville and Raymond Island. So I know that area around the lakes very, very well, and spent a lot of wonderful holidays, Christmases and Easters there with my very good friends, the Alexanders. So contact them weekly at least, and looking forward to their next visit. So they've had me in their beach house many a time. I look forward to them being guests in my beach house. By the way, if you want to make a booking for Bonneville or Coral Cottage, there's a link in the description of today's video. Seb Dangerfield says, I think too many are extrapolating the point of the German report on pedophilia with regular sex work. I think you'll find there's a difference. Sure. Yes, and this is the point. I mean, but there's no use denying that regular sex work happens in places like Pattaya. The underage thing and the pedophilia, I think, are two different issues. One slightly perhaps more extreme than the other. But in both cases, there needs to be a spotlight on both any underage sex work or pedophiles. They need to be driven out of the country and never to return again. And any people that exploit underage sex workers need also to have the full force of the Thai criminal system brought on them. Rachel Masters, question, I wonder what would happen if you posted a negative video if you were in China? Well, good question. I don't think they'd take that. Well, I don't know. I haven't really heard of any particular cases of vloggers in China. I think there's certainly censorship, I know, on things like Weibo. But I don't think they'd take it very well. But I'm not in China, and I'm not condoning the way that police may behave in China. I'm talking about Thailand, where I live, where this affects me and some of my contemporaries. A nomad overseas, it's just a cultural difference. Same with how being next to be served in 7-Eleven doesn't really count, as some local will just barge past you if you let them. Dam1 has a comment. Thailand is having a tough enough time on the tourism front without critical vloggers making things worse. Yeah, look, I mean, I don't encourage people to go out there and slam Thailand. But yeah, as I said, there's so much positive vlogging going on. This negative commentary, I'm sure, is a very small subsection of the vlogging industry. But I think people should be allowed to make negative comments as long as they're not defamatory, as long as they're not mixing up the facts. I think they should be allowed to engage in serious opinion pieces, for example. Vlogs are working in Thailand if they're remunerated in any way, says Robbie. Well, that is your understanding of the law. Some of the vloggers see it a different way. Most of the vloggers are paid from overseas into overseas accounts. Bit hard to say that they're working in Thailand. That is the way that a lot of them sort of see the laws. So if you do work in YouTube, you're paid by an American company called Google. And it depends where you have your bank accounts, I suppose. The Koh Tao Murder Death Island channel is a similar category, focuses on dozens of murders of foreigners. Yeah, and that certainly was a big story for a long time, and there wasn't much the Thai police could do about that. Antoine comment on the Thai television violence and traffic incidents are extensively reported. Are these reports not damaging to the image of Thailand or just not watched outside Thailand? I think the latter rather than the former, but yeah, there's plenty of negative news that's on the TV channels every night of the week. Peter finds your family. Maybe it's a weird handle, Tim, but that's what I want to do on YouTube, find people's biological family. Good for you, Peter. And now that I know, congratulations. So go and check out Peter Finds Your Family if you're looking for a biological family. I'm lucky that, well, I think my parents were my parents. My mother was 42. My father was 48 when I was born. I think I was just a lucky and delightful miracle. That's the way I see it anyway. James B. The Chinese went to Nana waiting for a stranger to say hello, then claims the area is dangerous. In reality, she was pissed that nobody offered her money. Oh, for heaven's sake, James. Idiot. Reg Dunlop. Oh, Reg, you've flown past. Where are you? Sorry, some of those have just vanished. Here we go. If the officials spend time checking the IDs of the workers, then there would not be incidents of underage sex workers, for sure. YouTube is blocked in China, says Super G. Yes, but there are Chinese social media channels. Mike Bengay. Hookers in Pattaya is why I went to Thailand. It's good for business. Good for you if you that's what turns you on. Have you seen more Russian businesses opening up in Phuket with the influx? Absolutely. I've had 2 lots of Russian guests in my Airbnb. I'm just using that as a generic term, my short-term rental. In both cases, they were delightful people. And in both cases, actually out of all our guests, they're the only people that have left tips. So thumbs up to those Russian guests. They were great. George R. Hi, Tim. First time. Send in text. We have a house in Isan. I watch you constantly. Regards, George from Wuggan, Western Australia. And Josh, SRY. Thank you very much for your support today. Have a great Christmas and thank you. Love the show. Josh, SRY, also from Australia. SRY, sorry. Thank you very much. I will have a great Christmas. I put a row of lights out the front. In reality, they really don't do much. You'd have to really have a close look to see them at night. But I put a wreath out last night and the Christmas tree's looking pretty good with lights. But it's really only us that can see it, and the cats, of course. But thank you, Josh. Really appreciate your support of the channel. I'll do my best to provide you with some good news. A lot of people wanting to talk about this. I had a few other topics that I wanted to cover. Do we want to do that one? Probably not. People aren't going to be very interested. I will briefly get to that one, though. Reg Dunlop, the difficult part is trying to find places where parents get their underage kids involved in sex work. Yeah, indeed. I think it's not anybody in particular's fault. There's the people that take advantage of these kids, and sometimes they happen to be the parents. So there's a lot to discuss, a lot to unpack with that particular topic. It's a difficult topic for a lot of people to talk about. It's something that a lot of people find uncomfortable to discuss. But it does happen, and unfortunately it happens a lot more than people would like to admit. As I said, I'm a little bit tied as to what I can actually say about the topic, and I haven't done any investigation over the past few years, but given the Deutsche Welle documentary, I am inclined to try and get up to Pattaya in the next couple of weeks and do a little bit more digging and speak to some of the people that try and aid and help these young people in escaping that particular industry. A Thai name, which I can't read, I'm sorry, Lyle Clark, without an E. Suggestion for grumpy old men, have either of you toyed with Thais? Example, pretend not to understand Thai, then reply in Thai language. can be priceless. Well, I can't do that because I can't speak Thai. However, Steve speaks quite good Thai. I'm sure he's done that from time to time, but I guess what you're saying. But I understand what you're saying, and yes, it's a good idea. James B, they are building thousands of new condos on Phuket. Also, if the restaurant adds tax to the bill on top of prices, definitely not Thai-owned businesses. Yes, you've got to have, everybody includes VAT on the bill. Everybody, all businesses, Thai or foreign-owned, they all work under the same tax laws. Strange thing to say. Rolando, morning Tim, nice shirt, like the colour, thank you very much. And I know you're going to ask me, where do I get them? And I always forget to dig up the information from my Lazada page and find out where I got them. I'll try and remember, I'm sorry. Sally Lee, hi Sally, says, I'm guessing the whole issue of criticising Thailand is tied up with the latest thing, which is Thailand's soft power. They've obviously just realised that soft power is related to reputation. Soft power being people saying, oh, I love Thai food, and indirectly saying Thailand's a great place to go. So this soft power is something that they're trying to encourage Thais to do more of, and they want Thais to vlog. They want foreigners to vlog, as long as you don't criticise Thailand. I think that's a problem. Terj, I hope I've said that correct. Most Russians is nice people. It's the few that make problems that destroy the reputation. You could say that about people from anywhere in the world, from any nation. There's always a small rump, I always call them the noisy 3%, that causes trouble and the reputation for everybody else. Starman Jack's got a comment. Currently I live in Byron Bay, but we're moving to Phetchabun next year. And we look forward to you getting here. Paul Cowan says, I'm intrigued, Tim, when you mention us when referring to your Christmas tree. Who are us? Well, as you know, I'm disinclined to discuss anything that happens behind my front door. My private life is my private life and not yours. And you can ask me about the news, you can diss me about my views or my commentary, but I'm not here to expose my entire life to the world. I enjoy, when I close the door, just living my own life, but the two cats do come in to discussion from time to time, and they sometimes even get on camera. David 0010. Hi Tim, hello from Ubon. You should come up and watch some Morlum shows. Not really into Morlum. I may have heard plenty of it. I've seen the shows in the past, not necessarily in Isan, but I'm very happy to come up to Isan at some stage. Probably won't be spending a lot of time at the Morlum shows, but I know people up in Isan really enjoy that music. Hayden John says, I watch a YouTuber that does single female travel, whose name is Adriana. She promotes single female travel, which is a niche that's growing. SYFI has had the odd problems and is very careful reporting it. That's her name? Sifa. Okay, thank you. Sorry, just reading these without pre-reading them, I get caught up sometimes. Hi Tim, when I move to Phuket, this is from Arnold Ziffel, next October, you're welcome to join me in a Thai language school. I'm trying to learn to read and write here in the US with children's books before the move. Good for you. I've failed. I've tried 3 different times, 3 different attempts to learn Thai language, and I've failed every single time. I can order my food in Thai. I can say a few greetings. Oh, look, I'm stupid. I've tried and I've failed. I'm just resolved that I'm just going to be cut off a certain dimension of Thai life because I can't speak the lingo. I've just sort of got used to it. It's a shame, really, isn't it? The Wu-Tang life. The Thai government, Thailand is the land of smiles. Every restaurant, hotel and area are the best places. Please come, but don't say anything bad on social media or I will arrest you. That seems to be the attitude, and I think it's a shame. Jamie AU, Tim, you can do your 90-day report online. Takes only 3 minutes. You get reply under 24 hours. Very easy. Jamie, I have tried to do that numerous times. I cannot get reporting online working. No matter what I've done, I've failed and I can't seem to get it working. So I have tried and failed every single time. So my visa agent is my next tier of convenience, which I've used many times. I don't have a problem with going into immigration during the 90-day report. It's just a quick trip through the drive-through at the Phuket immigration. But just getting through Phuket's traffic these days, for me to drive to Phuket immigration, which is like deep into Phuket town, would take, on a good day, a good hour and a half from where I am now. An hour and 15 minutes of that hour and a half are actually driving in Phuket. No, I won't be doing that. Just getting myself comfortable. Thanks, Jamie, for your suggestions. And a few more before we say goodbye. Hello from New York, says Wilson's 2. Seni Ann says there certainly is sarcasm in Thailand, along with anecdotes and cliches. It's the ability to perceive them that counts. Yeah, I think that's just one of those cultural issues, isn't it? But thank you for a sane and a very worthwhile comment. Fred says his nickname is Big Joke. Really? I would have never have known. He's no joke. He's from a wealthy and connected family. It's well known that Big Joke does not like farang. I've interviewed him. I never felt that he had a thing about foreigners. Defamation laws are not to be taken lightly here. That is absolutely true. Any YouTubers get busted? Well, wait and see. Let's see what the fallout from this particular range of stories has been. I have 5G from AIS. I live in Hua Hin. Yes, but I usually have 5G on my True Move. I've been with True since day one, on the same phone number since I arrived in Thailand nearly 13 years ago. But I'm talking about this beach. This beach road does not have 5G with any of the carriers, as far as I know. But I'm going to check. Richard, where do you live? That shirt is flaming as... Thank you. There's immigration in Panga and they're very friendly. I did an extension there before. Yes, I do have to sort of swing my whole immigration thing to Panga at some stage. Just haven't got around to it yet. Thailand doesn't smile like it used to. Nowhere does. Look, I think that's a bit of a sad opinion. I hear what you're saying. But I think it comes from you. You sort of have to look for the smiles, and they're certainly still there. But if you're looking for frowns, you'll find those as well. So I think a lot of the land of smiles doesn't necessarily come from Thailand. It comes from your own attitude. I've tried online 90-day reporting. The reply is always pending. Seni and yeah, I've had all sorts of problems with reporting online. Oh my God, have I just been critical about Thai immigration? I apologise. I didn't mean it. Immigration on Soi 5 Jomtien had a huge renovation and is now twice the size to cope with business. Yeah, I think the same's happened at Phuket immigration. I've seen some little pokey tents now turned into full offices, and they seem to be... I think there's 2 other places you can do immigration in Phuket as well now. One at Blue Tree and the other, of course, in Patong. Brilliant work this year. Yet again, many thanks. Thank you, Warren Williams, as we're coming up to the last 2 or 3 weeks of 2023. And it's been a good year for me, so I have no complaints. I'm very grateful for everything that's happened. Couple more comments. When you buy your shirts from Lazada, Tim, do you find the size consistent? Yeah, Paul, what's happened is I've found this particular brand that's got many variety of shirts, and I bought one and I went for the XL, and it arrived and just a little bit big. So every other shirt I bought from them since is L, and they've all been a perfect fit. So I think it's a matter of finding the brand sticking with the brand as best you can. Otherwise, buying online's a bit of a turkey shoot. I was in Bangkok this week and bought a pair of shoes. Usually I'm a 42. So I said, I'm a 42. Tried them on. I got a 43. So clothes and shoes, they're difficult to buy online. But if you can find a brand and you can stick with that brand, then you'll usually get a pretty good result, I find. That's worked for me. Okay, the police have handled the vlogger case really badly. The case have handled this is from Gary Craig, have handled the vlogger case really badly. They should have had a quiet word, but now all the Chinese news sites will be on it. Absolutely. This is going to do nothing to encourage more Chinese to come to Thailand. If they just let the vlog just go, not bring any attention to it, it just would have faded away and the next vlog would have turned up. Jack Flowers says, hi Tim, when did you work in SG and what job did you have? Did you enjoy SG? You're talking Singapore? SG? If you're talking Singapore, I didn't work in Singapore. I spent quite a bit of time there, but I was writing for overseas publications, so I was basically spending a lot of time in cafes and coffee shops. No, I didn't enjoy Singapore. Singapore is sort of it's a bit like a commercial Disneyland. I mean, it's clean and it's efficient and parts of it are very beautiful. But no, the people just don't seem happy there. They spend a lot more time on their phones than Thais. Could you believe that? And they always, anytime I engage Singaporeans, they always seem to be unhappy about things. And it's very, very expensive. So no, don't like Singapore, but a lot of people do. And I've got a lot of Singaporean friends. Big Joke spent a lot of time in the USA, says Brian Phuket. After he lost his job before, he passed my marriage visa in Phuket. He is different than most people assume he is. Yeah, I think you're right. I think he is quite different than a lot of people think. I think he's got a sense of humour. He is quite worldly in his thinking. He certainly rubbed a few Thai officials up the wrong way in the past. But I rate him. I think he's a good influence on Thai immigration rather than bad. He will at some stage be the Commissioner of Thailand's police. And James Geyer says, agree, there are plenty of smiles in Thailand. Love being back in Chiang Mai after 10 months and the people I encounter are smiling. And Dam One finishes by saying, have a lovely weekend all. Take care. Keep smiling wherever you are. And with that, one more to go and I'll say hello to Supachara. Thanks a million for the program today. Wish you a nice weekend. By the way, where can I find more info about your accommodation on Airbnb? If you Google Bonneville Beach House, it's got 2 N's, or Coral Cottage in Tai Muang, you'll get links to booking.com platform or Airbnb. Indeed, I've put some links in the description on this video if you'd like to make a booking. I think there's only a few days left in December. January and February pretty much booked out in Bonneville, but there is space here in Coral Cottage, which has just come online. And with that, I thank you all very, very much. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your comments. I really appreciate you dropping in, appreciate your support. Hopefully I can keep you up to date with not only the news in Thailand, but the background to the news in Thailand and which stories we should be taking perhaps more seriously than others. But we spent a lot of time talking today about censorship, freedom of speech, and the future of vlogging in Thailand. And I appreciate your comments on those subjects. Thanks. Have a fantastic Saturday. I'll see you tomorrow with Mr. Steve Rosse with an E. Otherwise, thanks for dropping in. We'll see you next time.